What is up everyone, Bearkid here, and today I'm bringing you guys something quite different today. I kind of wanted to discuss something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I thought, well, I might as well make a video about it here. So first thing I want to say before I go forward is I know some of you guys are waiting for my next chapter of Gears of War Annihilation. I plan on making a chapter and uploading it by New Year's Day. Because I've been really busy with the holidays, family, stuff like that, but I have that day off, so I'm going to work on it and try to upload it by that day, just so you guys know. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about in today's video, though, is what I would have personally have done if I was in charge with making this new trilogy for Gears of War. Or at the very least, what I had wished this trilogy was. So far with Gears 4 and Gears 5, from just the story standpoint, not talking about multiplayer, all that other stuff that everyone is triggered about right now, just the story, just the new trilogy that we've been seeing so far. When it comes to the story for Gears 4 and Gears 5, I personally like it. It's not bad. I like the new characters. I like JD. I like Dal. I like Kate. I like, seeing the old school characters coming back like Baird, Cole, Marcus, all that. And so far, I find the new trilogy pretty damn interesting. But there's something that I really wish that they had done instead when it comes to this trilogy. And maybe they can even do this after they finish this trilogy. If they want to keep milking this series and keep making more games, this would be an easy way to continue the storyline. So what I would have done, honestly, is if it was up to me, I would have made a trilogy as well, 3 games, but instead of it being a sequel trilogy that continued after Gears 3, I would have rather pulled a Star Wars here and made a prequel trilogy that led up to Gears 1. So instead of doing everything with the Swarm, Kate, JD, Dal, all that, I still would have kept the characters overall, the characters that we're used to, and essentially introduced them in a new fashion with this new trilogy being in the past. So for example, what I would have done for the very first game of this trilogy, is I would have made it all about Emergence Day. And I would have made the campaign essentially kind of split up between each character expressing what they went through on Emergence Day. So I would have had a major part of the game be about Marcus and Dom, seeing Marcus and Dom first ever experiencing fighting a Locust, seeing the very sad scene that they could have done with Dom finding his children dead. Imagine how depressing of a scene that would have been, really amazing of a scene it could have been to see that part of his storyline. We got to see Dom look for Maria, find her, have to kill her and then sacrifice himself. And then we could have got a scene where it could have went all the way back to where it all started, where we could have saw what happened to Dom's family. His parents die, his children die, and her parents die. And it could have been this really big emotional thing that they could have easily and depicted very well. And it would have been really damn good. It could have easily been one of like the saddest scenes in gaming if they did it well. And this would have been something that would have been really damn good. It could have been up there with the saddest scenes in, even since the first trilogy. And then alongside this, we could have had, scenes with showing what happened to Cole and what happened to Baird. And I know Cole and Baird at the time weren't necessarily soldiers. They didn't fight Locusts, so you probably wouldn't have really had a chance to play as them. But at least seeing a scene of them, that would have been pretty cool. And I know later on in Gears Judgment, it's supposed to be 30 days after E-Day, and he's like a lieutenant already, which kind of didn't make sense because in the novels, he was just like a normal guy that enrolled after Emergence Day. So you're telling me within 30 days, he became a lieutenant? Like, I never understood that. They kind of messed up by doing that in Judgment. I always felt like they could easily just said Judgment was a year after E-Day, and it would have made a lot more sense. So, but regardless of all that, they could have at least, if they wanted to, disrupt the canon of the novel and not really make that part of him being in the cog before Emergence Day, they could have at least made it to where it fit better with Judgment and had a storyline where you got to see Baird fight a Locust for the first time, see Cole. There was a major part in the novel where Baird and Cole are in a squad together after Emergence Day, and you can see that Baird is extremely scared, and Cole rushes in like a madman and fights the Locust without any fear. And Baird is completely astonished by Cole's courage, and Cole's tenacity actually encourages the rest of the squad to push in and fight without any fear. So we could have had a cool scene like that. We could have had maybe a good chunk of the game be Marcus and Dom see their scenario, and then see Cole and Baird in their own scenario, and kind of just have the games kind of go like that. Like, it would have been really cool to have like a game that kind of has two sides to two different stories. and we could have saw what happened on Emergence Day, show more of a connection between Adam and Mira. We got to see that in the novel where he stated that he was going to cure Lambency, and that's why she attacked, because she was impatient and didn't want to wait any longer. We could have had a scene like that. We could have essentially just took parts from the novels and just literally made them into the game, and it would have been really amazing to see. And that could easily just been the first game, you know, setting up the war, fighting new versions of Locust that we never got to see, and things like that that died before Gears 1, kind of like the way the Ragers were in Judgment, something like that. That would have been pretty cool. And then when it goes to, you know, Gears, that would have been Gears 4, essentially, would have been a prequel, and then Gears 5 would have kind of built on that and kind of essentially continued that storyline. And throughout the Gears 5 and Gears 6, they just kind of go through adventures, fight crazy locusts, go through different missions, things like that, show connections between characters like Marcus and Anya, because they did actually have a connection, even though the games didn't really show it all that much. And the other thing I just thought of as well is they could have actually did a scenario where they showed, you know, from the Locust aspect, you know, that we could have had a thing similar to like the, you know, ROM DLC from Gears 3 where you got to play as ROM and all that. We could have had scenes where maybe we got to play as ROM again, or other Locusts and things like that, to kind of give more in depth on their storyline. So we could even done something like that too. So overall, I feel like instead of trying to extend the storyline and the universe by making this new enemy with the Swarm and Cade and Dow and all that, I feel like they should have just took the original storyline with the Locust and just expanded on it and explained it better, you know, because throughout the original trilogy there were so many unanswered questions that we never got to find out. Whereas with this prequel trilogy, they could have used that specifically to answer those questions, and we could have got to see more of a connection with all the characters that we already liked and loved, and didn't have to worry about, you know, having to start a new storyline with new characters. Overall, once again, I don't dislike like Kate and Dow and all them. I actually do like the Gears 4 and 5 storyline so far. I actually find it really interesting. I like the new novel that came out recently. I'm going to be excited to read the next novel that's going to be coming out next year. So overall, it's not a bad trilogy. I like it a lot, but I just wanted to express the idea of what I would have done. And I feel like the best idea would have been to essentially make a prequel trilogy that would have established the storyline, expressed a lot of, you know, answers and things like that that we never got, and eventually led up to Gears 1. And essentially what they could have did at the very end of this trilogy is they could have easily have just sat there and made a storyline showing how Marcus got sent to prison. We could have saw how he got his scar, like the way the novels expressed it, and things like that. So they could have easily led it up to where that very end of the 6th game could have just showed Marcus going to prison, and it feels all sad or whatever, and then but you know in the end that Dom is eventually going to come back for him, and we're going to get to see the storyline from Gears 1 through 3. And throughout this trilogy, they could have also expressed how the Locusts were created and everything like that, like we found out in Gears 5. So it could have really been really interesting to see what a prequel trilogy would have been like for Gears of War, because I feel like there's so many unanswered questions, things like that, that we never got to see that are only expressed in the novels, and they could easily have took that storyline, things from the novels, and expanded on them by simply putting them in the game. So overall, guys, if you guys like this video, definitely hit that like button and subscribe, and tell me what you guys think about my idea about a prequel trilogy in the Gears of War universe. If you guys feel like that would have been more interesting than what we got with Gears 5 and Gears 4, Kate and all that, or do you feel like you prefer this storyline instead? But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, guys, and take it easy. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see my most recent Gears of War video, hit that link on the left. If you want to see any of my other content, hit that link on the right. Thanks for watching, guys.